Good to be back live again. Frank, Carrie, we're in the house tonight. You know something that stood out to me? I hadn't seen that intro in a while. We don't have a guy that can throw that breaking ball that showed up in that intro.
We don't.
It just stood out to me when I was watching. It's like, who do we have that can actually throw that?
I mean, his little brother can. He just doesn't have the command.
No, it's like one time he'll throw it and the next time he hangs it. That's kind of his problem. It's just the inconsistency. I think he has some stuff, but it's like it's just next year we might see something similar to it. But
he is a junior though.
Not this year. I think it was a lot of. We'll see where it goes. But good to be back with you. We're gonna be back with you the rest of the way. Mother's Day, we will be off on that one. I know Kerry's got a schedule he's got to work around some too, but we're going to try to go live the rest of the way. Midweek, weekend, of course, we don't have much left in the regular season. Now, of course, we get into the SEC tournament, and there's like a noon game. That might be a little hard, but if I can get through the next 2.5 weeks, I'm wide open at that point. So Tennessee takes care of business tonight, 12-1. To me, I think there were some things to like, but it's still midweek. What's your thoughts on tonight?
I mean, I feel like that's a game. I was thinking before the game, like we could have beat them 20-1, and I still wouldn't have been too ecstatic about the way it played out. Now I am sitting in this position where we mercy pulled them. I am happier that we did take care of them the way we did. I'm happy the bats got hot early. I mean, you scored 2 runs in the first 2 innings, and you're up 4-0 just like that. And that takes a lot of stress off the pitchers. I mean, that's what we've seen in SEC play is we come out, we bat, we don't really do anything. Our pitchers, they give up 1, maybe 2 runs, and we're just kind of trying to play catch up the rest of the way. And then, especially on the Saturday and Sunday games, we get to the bullpen, then we're hurting big time because the bullpen arms just haven't been there whatsoever so far lately in SEC play. So it's kind of the pitching's hurting the hitting just as much as the hitting's hurting the pitching, and it's just unfortunate. But it was nice to see because this is an Indiana State team that didn't they host the NCAA regional last year? I think they got a different coach.
Yeah, it's been recent.
It was like last year that they hosted, and I understand that they lost essentially all their good players to the transfer portal. That is still a somewhat decent Indiana State team. I mean, they did play the way they did last year, even though their record doesn't necessarily represent that this season. It's still a pretty quality win to beat, I guess, their Division I, beat them by 11, and then in 7 innings, essentially.
Yeah, they've been a pretty good program over the last few years. Like you said, they hosted. They've been I can't remember if it was last year, year before. I mean, they've been around.
The year before that, last year, they were really good, and people were expecting them to make a run. They didn't. I think they choked that one away. But the year before last year, that was when they were supposed to be like an underdog. And then last year, it was kind of they were on the mainstream, but they kind of choked that away. But hopefully,
I can't remember who was in their bracket last year with them, but it was you're right. They were. That was when I looked at tonight. They're coming in. They're under 500, but. Yeah, it's been one. I mean, you look at last week in Northern Kentucky, we saw them, what was it, last year in the first round?
Yeah, it was the first game.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're playing some. And, the funny thing about it is we've talked, you and I've talked about it. I mean, it's been talked about numerous times. You don't just go into a midweek game and assume you're going to win. I mean, I don't know where ETSU's at now. Are they still leading the Southern?
They're still pretty stinking good. I mean, they're projected in our field right now.
I wonder, will they have to win the Southern Conference tournament to get in, though?
Yeah, that's typically. I would assume.
That sucks. That's
a joke, it does suck, but it's just one of those things. I'll find out real fast.
I'm pretty sure I know last year they played down here in Greenville at the floor field where the Greenville Drive plays. So be curious where they're at this year as well. But, a lot tonight we get into this game. One thing I liked, and, some of you in the chat, when I've done the videos and the comments have talked about it too, and I totally agree. This team's been too passive at the plate. And tonight, and maybe it's less pressure, I mean, let's call it what it is tonight. Tonight was a midweek game. Do we replicate that this weekend? Are we expecting you to go beat Vanderbilt 12-1 every night? No, we're not. I mean, Vanderbilt's ranked, what do we see? I see earlier 10th.
Yeah, 10th or 11th.
15th.
Yeah, we're 15th.
You made the point on Twitter, and I totally agree. 2 years ago, this team was stumbling. What was going to happen? What, what was Griffin Merritt? The Griffin Merritt walk off.
Yeah, and then we had it was the Dylan Dreiling, or no, it was Kavaris Tears that started the inning with a solo, and then Dylan Dreiling golfed swing one out on a 1-2 count when the game felt like it was over. So, and then Griffin Merritt with the home run and extras, and also ETSU is number 1 in the conference, 11-4 in conference play, and still 34-12 overall. So
nice. I hope they get in. It's always seemed like a program. You and I have a little bit. We know a little bit about the program.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
I went to the ETSU baseball camps growing up. So
yeah, I mean, it's always seemed like they've had more potential than what they've done, and maybe now they're starting. I mean, because there's some good baseball players around that area.
There is.
I mean, I know they like the Knoxville area, which good baseball players there as well, but there's a lot of good baseball players throughout the Tri-Cities and surrounding areas for sure. But yeah, man, you hit it 2 years ago. Tennessee baseball team was struggling. My comparison coming into this season was I thought this team would be more like 2023. We had people getting, is this offense going to be better in 2024? No. There was never a point. I mean, I know it looked good at one point, but it's like when we're playing the Hofstra's and Sanfords of the world, yeah, it's easy to get excited about. I mean, Florida looked pretty good too, but Texas A&M game 1 looked pretty good. But then something after that, something on that Saturday changed Tennessee baseball. And I don't know if it was they got their teeth kicked in for 2 games and they've yet to recover. But, to me, this weekend, the good thing is you just lost the series this weekend, Auburn. But the good thing is the season doesn't end on that one.
No. It's just getting started.
There's a lot of baseball left.
Yep.
If this team takes care of business this weekend, I think we're back on the right track. Remains to be seen, obviously.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on what's your thoughts both ways this weekend on it? Good and bad.
I would say like I posted, I rewrote that post probably like 3 different times because the more I thought about it, that comparing this year's team to the 2023 team, that team was just dead in the water. Like we were like 5 games under 500 at that point. Like that team was in the worst spot possible, and they didn't necessarily have the best non-conference play either. And I wanted to say
they were talking what if this team would even make it.
Yeah, they were like, and like it was awful. And then this year, I was sitting there thinking like we're getting close to dead in the water, and then I was like, we're really not. Like I get we're 9-9 over the last 18. Like it could be 30 times worse. We could have got swept 1 or twice, or 1 or 2 times, and then it could have been a disaster. So I kind of reworded it and put it the way I did. But I still do think it's kind of the same scenario of a big win in a rivalry series can lead you the rest of the way. And I feel like it's one of those things. If you lose the series, I think if you lose the series, you're definitely losing at Arkansas. And like I said, you don't want to try to hopefully get that spark in Fayetteville or in Hoover and just hope and pray that you can get hot in the NCAA tournament, which in all reality is not going to happen. If you don't beat Vanderbilt this upcoming weekend, you lose that. You lose in Fayetteville. I don't care how the SEC tournament goes. The NCAA tournament's not going to be a success. You'll be lucky to make it to the Supers, much less Omaha, in my opinion.
I think if you look at it this weekend, Arkansas weekend, I mean, if you lose those 2, you might as well throw hosting out the window. You're not even hosting a regional.
Yeah. If you lose this weekend, I think if you lose this weekend, you're not hosting. No matter what, I
Maybe
think
you're right.
I think that's no matter really what happens against Arkansas. I get the Arkansas one would kind of even that out. You can beat beat Vanderbilt, lose to Arkansas, you'll be fine. Just don't get swept to Arkansas. If you lose to Vandy and then take 2 out of 3 to Arkansas, they just be like, "Oh, final game you won on a Sunday that didn't matter for Arkansas. It is what it is. You had lost how many straight series going into that one." So they would kind of try to create a narrative in some sort of way. But overall, I just don't see that. I think if that happens, I think we'd be right on that 16-ish line.
Yeah,
Because right now we're creeping backwards.
we're
But
close.
if you win this weekend, just steal at least one. Well, just still pretty. I'll be okay with stealing one in Arkansas. You can steal one game, have a successful Hoover, which is the total opposite of what we've seen kind of in the last year's team and the 2022 team. Of you got to actually some success in Hoover may actually help this team. So
Yeah,
it's just one of those things of you need to start winning right now. If you win against Vanderbilt and you win against Arkansas, you're hosting a super regional. Like that's
yeah.
just how this is going to play out. And then you can afford to win one game in Hoover and then lose 2 straight and go home and you'll be fine. But it's just one of those things. It's the last essentially 3 weeks of the regular season because Hoover's essentially an extension of the regular season, considering unless you're like awful, your season's not over, considering how powerful the SEC is. So it'll be interesting how this team plays out the rest of the way. But I do think that Vanderbilt's by far make it or break it, in my opinion.
Got to win it. Got to
Yeah,
win it
got to.
this weekend. There's no doubt about it. And I don't know if they can get in that top 8. If they sweep the next 2 weekends, I think they're back in the top 8. I don't know. You never know.
You
Some of
win
these
5 out of 6.
rankings and then the actual seedings don't always match up. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they can still be in that top 8 to host a super. And I mean, but let's face it, this year, is that a bad thing? You've lost your last 3 home series.
Yeah.
So, your last series win was on the road. And when they had a rabbit's foot that weekend, because they did what they could to lose that Ole Miss series and
They
didn't.
should have lost that series.
Yeah, I was coming back from Asheville. I was listening to it on the app, and it's like, how are we winning this game?
Yeah.
It was just like it seemed like it should have been a foregone conclusion that we were losing, but it didn't. And we can take what we want out of tonight. The biggest thing for me, it stood out. There's a few things that stand out to me. One with the hitting. What'd you think of the lineup tonight?
I loved it. It's just one of those things that's starting to make sense. Dean Curley's batting like 243 in SEC play.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be in the 2 spot anymore batting that poorly, especially when you have Keelan and Fisher. It's kind of a lot really similar to what we saw last year with Moore and Burke. You have your Keelan, that's just a overall all around hitter, then your power guy after that. So it's essentially kind of a replica of that in a sort of way. That's what I'd like to see the rest of the way after seeing how it went tonight. And Hunter Ensley, like the clutchest guy on planet Earth right now. He's got every single big hit that we've needed over the past few weeks, even though we've been struggling. So I do like to see that. The 4th spot, that one, I think that one Curley may even slide back into that 4th spot come a few weeks from now. But because Bargo, I feel like he does have that spot, but Tony's not afraid to move Bargo around for some reason. He does with him whatever he wants to, which is kind of disappointing to see, but it kind of is the reality. It would be nice to see a guy like Chapman getting that abilities, and there's no doubt about that. He just hasn't been. He's been in a slump as well, but I do like it. I do think it's a great lineup. What is it?
Tonight was good for Chapman.
Yeah, it was good for Chapman. It was nice to see him break out of that slump, but I do like it. I think Chris Newstrom, I don't understand why he's not getting as many at bats as he is in SEC play. That changes starting this weekend. That's kind of obvious how it went tonight, and then against Auburn, of course. But it's just I really did like the lineup tonight. The only change is put Peebles back in at catcher. I like Abernathy in left field just because Levi Clark's been struggling mightily in SEC play, just like Dean Curley.
Yeah, I know people said Clark had 3 hits over the weekend. That's great. And he hit some hard balls. But the thing that stood out to me was over 3 games. And I think you and I will agree on this. I love the potential Levi Clark.
It is. Yeah.
What he reminds me of, and I know he's right-handed, the guy he reminds me of left-handed. Sometimes you get humbled in SEC play. Blake Burke got humbled in SEC play his sophomore year especially, and he bounced back. And I think that's where Levi Clark is as well. And he's got a ton of potential.
He does. Yeah.
I just think there's adjustments right now. And I think there's other guys adjusted more to SEC play than Levi Clark is.
I would say
who's your ideal cleanup guy as of right now?
Let me add on to the Levi Clark thing. I think it might have been Saturday or Sunday. Like, he defended the plate on a 1-1 count, but it gets a 3-2 count, and he takes a perfect pitch on the inside edge, and he doesn't even move the bat off his shoulder. So that was kind of a hint to me, like, the head's not necessarily there, because we're defending on a 1-1 count, and it was either 1-1 or 1-0, and you don't have to defend there. Like, you can take a strike. Like, it's perfectly okay to take a strike there. But he didn't on 3-2, so it was kind of confusing. And I mean, we've seen him be really dominant as a pinch hitter, and I think that's something that we could really use down the stretch of, we need a right-handed pinch hitter at bat. He would be a great guy to do that. I just don't like him seeing the lineup every single day right now, just considering how he's played recently. Still love the kid. Still think he's going to be great here. Like, he's awesome. It's just the freshman struggles that you see pretty much 95% of freshmen that come and start in the SEC. You kind of see that happen. But the cleanup spot, I mean, I want Bargo to be in that spot. I want Bargo to stay there. I want Dean Curley to stay at 5, and I want Chapman to move up to 6. That's what I want to see.
You'll probably see where I'm going. Would your mind change with Peebles in the lineup versus Lawless?
Not really. I mean, I think you could position them wherever you want to in the lineup. It's just Peebles is the leader that he is, and he's a much better. I feel like right now he's just much better behind the plate than Lawless is. Lawless may throw a runner out more than Peebles does, but both guys have had balls get by him, but a lot of that's on the pitching staff. But I feel like Peebles right now needs to be back there just because of how absolutely crazy the pitching staff is right now. And I don't want to make that change right now and put Lawless back there and it be a 3-3 game in the bottom of the 8th inning or top of the 8th inning, and you let one go right through the 5-hole.
No, my point on that is, I'm totally with Pete. I would have Peebles cleanup right now.
Yeah, I understand that. I can see that.
Yeah, he's totally my weekend guy. I don't have a problem with him playing Lawless on the weeknights. But right now, the way Peebles is swinging, and I know his average shows 236 in SEC play. Where was it at one point? It was in the 100s.
Yeah,
he's been arguably.
He's been great.
He's been really good. I would totally. You may disagree. I would have Fisher lead off, but I don't have a problem with Keelan leading off. Either or.
I think the thing is with that is, if you do put Fisher leading off, the speed isn't quite as good as it would be with Keelan. And the thing is I understand that Fisher, he gets on base a lot. I mean, he's gotten on base literally every game of the season, but I just think it's one of those things. Keelan sprays the ball a little bit better everywhere. Fisher's kind of like a hit a bomb or get a walk kind of guy is really mainly what you see, or an extra base hit. So I like him behind Keelan because Keelan hits a lot of singles. So that kind of counts. So I just feel like I like Keelan there. I like a guy with a little bit of speed. And I don't know if Fisher necessarily brings that.
I guess my thought on it is we don't steal a lot of bases.
We don't at all.
Like, you get Fisher on, and you made the point. Fisher or Keelan spreads the ball around. There you go. Fisher runs the bases pretty well.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem either way. I don't think there's any doubt with me. You go with them 1 and 2. And I wouldn't have a problem with Inslee there. And I know you and I both talked about it earlier in the year. We said, well, Inslee isn't in the 5-hole. This is a different team. He's a worst case 3-hole hitter right now to me.
I think the thing is with him, just how consistent he's been with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can necessarily move that, because right now, pretty much every hit from this past weekend was a single. And that doesn't really help us, considering he was the one driving in the runs. And nobody behind him is going to drive him in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's You're right. I mean, that's but I mean, we've not hit a lot of home runs right now. So I
No,
mean,
we haven't. No.
I think it's played out well, like you've said, because he's been the guy to come through.
Yes.
Regardless of I was not happy with the base running when he tied it up and then got gunned at second.
Yeah.
But
I
that
wasn't
was
really happy
numerous
with.
times that weekend. Or
Yeah, it was just I think the Marin one was the most confusing to me because
yeah,
the ball was hitting the gap and he was out by a mile at third. In
yeah.
reality, he should have already been running around in second. He should have been standing up at third easily. So I don't know if there was. I didn't see the sky view of that one, so I didn't necessarily see
He was out.
exactly if he hesitated or what. But it's still the base running's got to clean up. Base running's not been good. Defense hasn't been good. Wasn't good again tonight. Pitching control hasn't been good. That's three recipes for disaster, and that's exactly what we've seen these past few weeks.
Do you think I had a debate with somebody this week? Do you think this coaching staff works on fundamentals?
I mean, I don't think any baseball team doesn't work on fundamentals. I think it's just something that they do. It's just an executing in the game. Like you could probably go watch them warm up and they not miss a beat. Like maybe a backup will sell one over somebody's head, but they probably won't miss a beat like in warm ups. But they get in a game and it's kind of like ugh. And I will say like today early in the game, like the Bargo play, the sun was in his eyes. Like he totally misread that one. You still got to hustle more on the throw, but it's just there are some factors like that, or it's just a really difficult play. It just would be nice to see a majority of the guys make the difficult plays a little more often than we've seen right now.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, to me, if and I think this staff is definitely doing it's a good staff. It's the best coaching staff in college baseball. I mean, we can critique it all day long. We don't have to agree with all of it. How many times have you and I on here not agreed with what Josh Heupel's done or Rick Barnes or Kim Caldwell or what have you? But yeah, it doesn't mean we think we're idiots or they're idiots.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that or anything. To me, Tony Vitello's made the comments, we're working on things. And sometimes it just doesn't jive. And I would have a concern if this staff is not, because to me, and this is where I've coached, this is where I teach, you never stop instructing. You never stop teaching. You never start assuming your guys have it. And, we play numerous young guys. Not every young guy comes in fundamentally sound.
Mm-mm.
And Tony Vitello's made the comment, these are young guys, they're still learning. Anybody that thinks these guys are just fundamentally sound coming in, they're 100% fundamental, there's no issues, you need to get out and learn what the hell you're talking about on it. I mean, that's just, I'll go to bat. I had a disagreement yesterday on that, and I still, when I think about it, get a little chapped about it. But a good coach never stops teaching or instructing. And I guarantee you, Tony Vitello, Frank Anderson, Josh Elander, Ross Kivett, Ricky Martinez, all these guys, I know there's others I'm not mentioning. I guarantee you they're out here coaching their asses off. It's just a matter of when do we get the results. It's not if. It's going to be when. I think it's going to come together at some point here. We got 130 people for baseball. It's rules, man. Let me hit some comments. I've not even hit them. Kerry Carson, what's up, man? First one in here tonight. Go Big Orange. We got old Bubbles in here. Said felt like a huge momentum win. Got to carry this. I mean, we'll see on it. It's I think they did a lot of things tonight to do. Devin Arnold, upstate dude. What's up, man? Finally back on track. Dominant midweek win. Make sure you hit the like, the share. If you like the content, you've not checked it out or anything, hit the subscribe. One big thing, to get us going more more live. I'll be honest about it. It's more super chats. All right. It's a part of it at this point, part of this channel. Not begging for money, but I'm putting it out there. I'm being honest about it. You want more lives, more super chats. They do help along the way. Kyle Beach, what's up, man? Look more like Tennessee baseball. I'm just going to hit a little bit of these time. Dewey Decimal, what's up, man? The game tonight was definitely more like our old selves. JL, member of the channel. Thank you so much, JL, for being a member of the channel. Said late to the show, go Big Orange. David, what's up? Good seeing here, David. They win Vandy Arc Series. We back. Big Tasco, absolutely. Totally agree with you on that one. Going to have their work cut out, especially the way they've been playing. We've got Big Orange and now, so it's Big Orange. We could still make Omaha, maybe win it all. Dewey, 23 team, lost more games, still finishing sixth in Omaha. It's not over. It's not over. I mean, I would use a couple examples here. Ole Miss 2022. We looked like the dominant team in 2022, and we know what happened there. Ole Miss barely made it in, and look what they did. And you know, for some comparison's sake, I've seen it the last couple of days. Ole Miss 2022, their left side of the infield made a lot of errors. But you know what they did? They hit the baseball. LSU 2023. Does anybody remember Tommy Tanks in the field? The guy tanked third base a lot. But you know what? He had the big hits. Their shortstop, I saw the stats. Lots of errors, big hits. Now, they had Paul Skeens that year too. But still, Paul Skeens threw, 2 games in Omaha? I mean, one of them was against us, and one of them was against, Wake Forest? And I think Wake might have even chased him. I may be wrong on that one.
He would have pitched in the championship series too. So
he would have pitched against Florida, wouldn't he? That's right.
Yeah, 3 times. And he may have even been warming up in the bullpen for like a 4th appearance.
He was warming up for game 3 against Florida, and they ruled him. That's right.
Yeah.
Mason Guest, another member of the channel. Thanks so much. I like seeing Sherman do well tonight. Bet he'll be out of the bullpen the rest of the way on the weekends. I wanted to get to that topic, so we'll segue into that one. We'll talk more. We got a lot to talk about. We'll try to wrap up here. I mean, we're about 30 minutes. We'll go no more than an hour. But do you think that's where they're going with Sharman?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's you have to have a lefty step up at this point outside of Dylan Noy. Arvinson's gotten his chances. Just the walks has killed him, man. That's the most frustrating thing. And when you come in and you spike a ball and it gets by the catcher and they score a run off of it, that's just not good enough. I've been pulling my hair out watching him come out of the bullpen the past few weeks, and it's a guy that we should be able to trust. And it's a guy that they kind of called on to be that second lefty out of the pen in a spot that should have been Binky's. That should have been Andrew Binky's spot, but he's kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. So they tried to give it to Arvidsson. Arvidsson hasn't came through with it whatsoever. Now they're trying to work in Sharman. Sharman, I don't know if he necessarily sticks to that role. I still want Arvidsson to stay the number 2 guy if Arvidsson takes the next steps to do that. Sharman could be a huge lefty out of the pen. Sharman's a guy you could actually possibly see. I think that's probably why they pitched him as much as they did tonight, is try to get the pitch count up, because he is a guy that was a starting pitcher in community college, pitched 8 innings like a year or 2 ago. So he can go the length. And I was thinking about this earlier. Right now, Tennessee hosts the NCAA regional. They win game 1 with Liam Doyle. Game 2, Marcus Phillips. They win that one. They pull that one out. They get to game 3, which is a championship game. Okay, what we've seen the past few weeks is they've lost that game. They lose that game. They play a 4th game, and that's a situation of who in the ever-living you-know-what is going to pitch that game. And they got to figure out a guy that can do that, and that's also going to be a scenario come Hoover as well, probably. So I feel like that could be a spot that you see Sharman in. I am more confident now seeing the way Sharman pitched tonight in that spot compared to I was before the game. It's essentially going into the game, I was thinking, right now we don't have the 4th starter if we had to. And unless the other team has just worse pitching than we does, just chalk it up. We're going home, because that's just kind of how we've played things out. I mean, we're struggling in game 3 with pitching. I couldn't even imagine game 4, especially if it's if they mess around and play on the same day, or play like a quick turnaround and play Monday morning after they play Sunday night. So it's just one of those things where you got to have a 4th guy. We've seen in the past teams they've had the 4th guy. This year we don't right now, so they're trying to figure that out. So I think that's why we saw him. Even though I would like to see Sharman maybe a little bit more on the weekends.
I totally agree. And I think that's where it goes too, because they've been, I mean, you noticed what was it last week? Breedlove went a few, then Sharman went a few, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Last week, Sharman went a pretty good portion of the middle way. I think that's where they're going with it. I really do. And I'm like you. I mean, you bring him in for 1 or 2 batters on the weekend, that really doesn't tell us much. I mean, I know those 1 or 2 batters has not gone well for him, but sometimes pitchers too need to get in a little bit of a groove before anything happens with it. I think that's what they're going as well. Because normally we're used to seeing midweek, you see 1 to 2 guys per inning. In the last 3 weeks, we've been seeing Sharman and Breedlove multiple innings. That tells me they're grooming them for postseason play.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to give them. I mean, I just think they've been playing with their. I got to find a good. I think they've just been playing with their crack so tight the last few weekends that they're not willing to give. Unfortunately, they've been giving some guys too much leash and some guys not enough.
Yeah, they really have.
And, one is you sent me today about tipping pitches on it. And we'll discuss it here in a minute because that was very interesting what you sent me today. Let me hit a couple more. There's the infamous Himothy in here says VOLS. Bender a string says, I'm late. Did we win? 12-1 run rule tonight. Postseason play, we know Doyle's going to be the ace. Phillips 2. Would you stick Russell 3?
I mean, I would do what I said I would, like what I posted over the weekend. I would kind of switch it up. I would put the Phillips at game 3 on the Sunday spot and just try to find some magic on Saturday. Because right now, Sunday games, right now, rubber games, it seems like Russell and Coons, they're great pitchers. It just, they haven't clicked yet on a Sunday. And I understand that Russell, of course, he's come back. So we got a low pitch count and it's getting back into things. But he's shown it. Russell has shown it for 1 or 2 innings like he did last week, and he kind of lost it. The leash was a little bit too long in that situation. But it's just one of those things of just possibly switching Phillips to Sunday and then back to Saturday. That could be a huge difference. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No. I don't think that Tony and Frank are going to do that because I don't remember a time that we've really seen them do that other than put Burns in the bullpen. So I don't see that happening, even though that's something I want to see. I would still consider, of course, like you said, Russell in the 3 spot on Sundays. And didn't he got 45 pitches, I think, that this was his last appearance was 45 pitches. So, and I was expecting, he probably could have went further. They just pulled him because he had the bases loaded. But so he went from 35 the week before. Now he's up to 45. If we can get him by, just give me 60 pitches come the postseason, like the NCAA postseason, then I'll be really happy.
Yeah, and I think last weekend, I mean, they amped him up an inning there. I mean, the big story of the weekend to me was they scored 7 runs. It wasn't the pitching. It wasn't that he got a few hits and then who come in after him? Snead. That's a whole other conversation with Snead in the trust right now. And, that's one I think we can agree. We all like Snead, but Snead's been getting lit up like a Christmas tree for about a month now. And I just think you got to use some common sense. I know Vitello says he's our guy. He ain't the guy right now.
No.
He's not, and he would not be my closer.
No.
I mean, but like you said, the whole bullpen's really in a funk. So, what is it? Do we need to mix more pitches? Are we tipping pitches? As you sent today, as we picked up on some things with Snead. You picked up on something. I picked up on a little bit of something as well with his delivery. Who would be your closer right now?
Loy.
You go Loy?
Yeah, I'd go Loy right now.
I don't have
Game 3 of the College World Series championship. Put Dylan Loy out there.
I could go with that. I'm a little partial, obviously, due to friendships, but based on you're going Doyle, Phillips, Russell. We know that's how it's going. Coons has the mentality.
He does.
To transition into it. I mean, he come in. I thought he pitched really good Saturday. Probably his best outing since Alabama. Can he build on that? Lloyd. I mean, Lloyd had a little bit of rough outings. He enabled us to win that game Saturday.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I don't have any trust in Snead right now, and I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but we can sit here and say that night Curley cost LSU game. The bottom line is Snead couldn't get an out after that. But, I mean, we've seen the story numerous times. You give a good team extra outs, they normally make you pay for it.
Yeah, that's just how it works. Because, I mean, it's also if you're pitching on the mound and one of your defenders makes 2 plays like that and you essentially have made the outs to win the baseball game, they kind of didn't make the plays to make the outs. I'm sure Snead was on the mound, and that was kind of what played into that was like, dude, like you guys have got to have my back. I've been on the mound personally before. My defense is playing like the Bad News Bears out there. You get pretty stinking frustrated on the mound whenever that happens. So it's just one of those things. And then that's kind of when disaster happens, and that's exactly what we saw on a Friday night in Baton Rouge or Saturday morning.
It's happened with Snead. It's happened with Franklin. It's happened with Coons. Probably Loy. I can't remember it directly, but I definitely remember the other 3. I don't think it's any coincidence that these guys are doing fine. All of a sudden you get an error or a play's not made, and then the wheels either the wheels come off or things start going downward. There has to be some frustration, and pitchers, we can say they're all mentally tough or whatever. There has to be a point where it's like, here we go again. It's like I'm doing my job and my defense doesn't back me up. And I don't think you would have a single pitcher who would come out in public and say, yeah, these guys need to get their asses in gear. But it has to be just frustrating with it. I mean, the defense along the way there has been little league level stuff going on. That Kentucky series, if I go back to that one, the amount of bases they were stealing, that is little league-esque. And if we're so hell-bent on analytics that we don't care about stolen bases on either side, there's other teams that are going to make us pay for it.
Yep.
I mean, you got to have a quick step on your windups. You can't basically go into the stretch and just basically be a long wind or a short windup.
Yeah.
Because teams they're going to wear you out. We saw Kentucky do it. We may run into a team like Kentucky. I mean, if teams like that are getting on base, it's been better. It's been better recently. I definitely think the team's working on it. But there's just things, man. We've got to be better in so many aspects. I mean, the defense has been rough. The stolen bases were rough. The base running has been rough. And the hitting, I mean, we've been up there looking for walks. And hopefully tonight, I thought they were. Did you think they were a lot more aggressive tonight?
Oh, yeah. I mean, back singles in the first inning just to start things off. That was great to see. That was like when I was like, okay, it's different. Like this team is different tonight than what we've seen the past over a month, essentially. So it was nice to see that. And it was just overall the approach all night. If you sacrifice a few less walks, it's okay. You're going to make up with it because guys like Fisher and Peebles, that's what they do. They walk. They have extremely high on base percentages. So that's 2 of the guys and they kind of spread out just enough in the lineup, hopefully, to where it kind of does benefit Tennessee. Because you got guys like Inslee. Inslee isn't going to walk the most. He's probably just going to hit a single on you. Dean Curley, he's kind of right now. It's kind of he comes up to plate. I feel like he's going to strike out most of the time right now. So hopefully he can get out and over that. But it's just one of those things you just can't come up to the plate and expect to walk. Like you get in a And what I'm tired of, what I'm sick and tired of is seeing is, okay, they're wanting to walk all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Gets a 3-0 count. Normal fastball right down the middle. 3-1 count. That's what you typically always see. They don't swing. 3-1 count. They get a pitch and they roll it over. I've seen that each of the past few weekends. Like we're wanting to walk, but you're getting a great opportunity to walk. It's okay. You can take 3-2. You know how hard it is to throw 3 straight strikes. It's like it's incredibly hard, and I don't understand that. Me personally, I've always been like if I'm down 3-0, I'm going to take the next 2 pitches. Like you're going to have to throw 2 straight strikes unless you throw me the perfect meatball. And these guys are definitely 1,000 times better than I ever was. So these are guys that 3-1 count. Yeah, if you do get your pitch, go at it, but you better actually do something with it. You can't just keep on rolling it over like I've seen the past few weeks. I've seen Fisher do that a few times. He's still been probably one of the greatest hitters on this team, but he's one that comes to mind because he did it just this past weekend. And the same thing, like I said earlier with Levi Clark, we're defending the plate on a 1-1 count, but 3-2, we're watching it go right down the middle. So it's just disappointing.
I'm always of the philosophy, if it's right down the middle, swing it. And I'll tell you where my change came one year. It wasn't when I was at coaching Elizabeth, and it was down in Rogersville, but I was under, we'd be down late, take till you get a ball. And the kid swung one time. He popped it up. And I was like, he ignored the sign. And I'm like, we had a conversation about it. And he said, I don't get it. He said, he told me he ignored it, but he said, I don't get it. He said, why would I take a pitch right down the middle when I'm just going to get hit with the breaking ball on the next one?
Yeah.
Or something. And I said, next game we played, same situation. I told him head away, and he looked at me. I was like, I get it. My philosophy changed. And, numerous times when I've coached, we've had 3 pitch innings where we went 3 up, 3 down, and 3 pitches. And it even extended into the next inning. We went 4 or 5 straight outs.
Oh, my gosh.
And you start hearing barking in the stand. Take a pitch. Nope. If it's right down the middle, swing the bat. Things will happen with it. Because what are you gaining out of it, in my opinion, if you take a pitch down the middle? It's a strike. I think a lot with this team, and the 3-0, I agree with you on. Make them do their thing on it.
Yeah, like if it's a close game in SEC play.
Yeah,
just
sure.
Play it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. Mine is more how many times we've watched the first pitch right down the middle. And Clark is a guy with his swing. If it is belt to knees, that's his pitch. And I don't know how many times I've watched him take that pitch. And with his uppercut, when teams get him up a little higher, he's not going to do much with it.
He's not going to catch up.
No. And it's just I like the aggressive approach tonight. I hope they'll be more aggressive this weekend, not just be looking for walks because, like we've talked about, they have to win this weekend. Your ideal 9. You're 8 in the field and your DH. What is your ideal batting order going into this weekend?
I would just say lineup-wise, what we saw tonight with Keelan at shortstop, Fisher at first, Inslee in center, Bargo. I'll put Bargo at third still. Dean Curley at second. Then after that, so what is that? So that's 5, yeah. Then I want to put Chapman. I want to put Chapman in right field in the 6th spot. Then I want to put Peoples in the 7. He has a lot of experience hitting in that 7 hole, so that's where I like him there. Then I like a guy like Chris Newstrom in the 8 hole as your DH. And then 9 spot, Jay Abernathy in left field. Because I want the 9 spot, like I want the 9 spot to have some speed. If you get Jay Abernathy on base, Keelan and Fisher, they're probably going to knock him in. Like that's just kind of what's going to happen. Keelan's a single hitter. If Tony and the coaching staff decides to break a few Tennessee baseball rules and let Abernathy steal a base or 2, I think Tennessee could be very dangerous. Because right now, I don't like the abandonment of Jay Abernathy just because he is a different factor with the speed. And I don't necessarily know why they've taken him out as much as they have the past few weeks. It's kind of confusing why they've done that. But I think Abernathy's a guy, He's a contact hitter. He's not going to hit a ball. Like, that's not what we're expecting. That's why you put him in the 9-hole. It's like you playing MLB The Show. You're going to put the really fast guy in the 9-hole just so he can get on base and steal for the top of your lineup. And then Chris Newstrom in the 8-hole, that's the guy that's earned that spot. And you can't, Tony, you just, I'm going to say something here. You can't just give him the shortest leash ever. He can go 0-4 one game and you put him back in the next time, because Tony's done this in years past where he puts a guy like Newstrom in that position. Okay, he strikes out once or twice and he pulls them, and that just kills the kid's confidence. I mean, Newstrom right now has probably one of the hottest bats on the team, if not the hottest. He's not necessarily getting the at bats. Give him the at bats. Let him get hot. Right now, he's batting .333 in conference play. That's, I think, second or third on the team. I get the at bat numbers
first.
That's still
Finsley.
Yeah, that's still like really stinking high. I don't care if you've taken 10 or 12 plate appearances. That's just that's great in my opinion. So I like him and Newstrom and Abernathy in the 8 and 9 spot. And you could put Newstrom in left field and put Abernathy at DH, but that doesn't really make sense to me personally, unless you want Newstrom's arm. Yeah,
I'm totally in agreement with the 9. And my only chance, I would move, just based on the way they're hitting now, I would move Peebles to 4. Move Bargo,
I know,
and them down. It's just my preference. I don't have a problem with Keelan leading off. I mean, I've said that from the get-go. I'd lead him off, but I wouldn't have a problem if they moved Fisher to lead off. But still yet, I mean, we saw it last year. It's kind of reminiscent of last year where Burke hit second. Fisher is kind of that Burke type hitter. Is what he can spread the ball around. That's it to me. I just don't. I like the potential Clark. I like the potential Manny Marin. Jay Abernathy's got the second highest OBP on the team. He's got half the at-bats of other guys. He's only got 46 in SEC play coming in. But still yet, his OBP is only second to Andrew Fisher. Newstrom, I mean, the guy come off the bench cold and got the game-winning hit this weekend.
Yep.
And I don't care where the infield was playing. He made it happen. That's all that matters.
Base hit's a base hit.
Base hit's a base hit. That's my 9 as well. And I can't sit here and make a case for Clark and Marin right now. I just can't. And love the potential of both guys. My thoughts on Clark is he's a 3-year guy. Next year, he's going to make tremendous strides and be a lot better. 2 years down the line, he's going to be the man. Marin's a 2-year guy. I think he'll make strides next year. I would, but I mean, I'm not going to compare him to Curley, because Curley was a double-digit home run hitter last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, Curley's defense wasn't, I didn't think, always up to par, but still yet, I don't think Marin's what Curley was. And I know he ranked higher, but yep.
I would say it's not necessarily like comparable if you like put it down on paper and look at the stats. I would kind of consider what Dean Curley's going through kind of what we saw with Hunter Inslee at the start of last year. He was expected to be the guy. The fan base and essentially the coaching staff put a lot of pressure on him to be the guy on the team. He was either leadoff or the third man. He was proven. He was older than everybody else essentially. And they put a lot of pressure on him, and he struggled. He struggled mightily. That was the start of the season. He broke out of it, and then he had a tremendous second half of the season. It's a little bit different this year with Curley, but this is still a guy that they had a tremendous amount of pressure on. He played great in non-conference play. He was like, okay, I'm one of the best hitters in college baseball. He was getting talked about being top 5 pick. So then I guess he may have just gotten his head too much, and the wheels have totally fell off the train tracks right now. But it's just one of those things. You put him back drop him down in the lineup, kind of let him be hidden, keep him at second base. You clean up the fielding a little bit. The bat just starts to come through a little bit more. And you never know. He could be back to the Dean Curley that we know and we love come 3 weeks from now, which I would love to see. I think if Dean Curley turns it around and you get the production out of the rest of the lineup that you need, I don't know where you put Dean Curley in the lineup regarding that. You may just keep him wherever you have him, wherever he's having success at. And that's kind of why I would disagree with the Peoples argument is you move Peoples up, he's going to get in his head a little bit more in the
Yeah,
4 spot. You
that's
keep
true.
Peoples where he is, and he doesn't have to think about it as much because he is still a catcher. And the way the pitching staff's pitching right now, I mean, he's all over the place. He's getting worn out behind home plate.
Yeah.
So I don't want him doing too much at the plate, considering he's the only guy that's necessarily come through in big moments for us other than Hunter Inslee right now. So it's just one of those things. Like, I just keep Dean Curley back there, let him do his thing, and hopefully he breaks out of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. You make some good points on that. Maybe, I mean, Inslee last year was struggling, and then what was the Florida series? He had a big game or two.
Yeah, he did.
And that's where he took. And when they put him in that 5 hole, I mean, he flourished the rest of the year. Maybe you get deja vu here.
Yeah, the thing is with that though, they did bench Inslee. Like, he was benched in a lot of those non-conference games. So we haven't seen that with Curley, and I don't really necessarily want to see Dean Curley benched at this point, unless he goes like 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts the first 2 games against Vandy. Then it may be time, but I don't think at this point you could take that same risk and bench Curley.
No, I wouldn't have had a problem if he got like a weekday off, but at this point, it's pretty obvious he's not. And maybe I like the lineup tonight. And my thing, I wouldn't have a problem with Grimmer getting an opportunity, but we don't know what he can do in SEC play either. He's had 4 at-bats in SEC play, and the last one I remember, he watched a strike 3 right down the pipe. I've got a problem with that. All right, you get your opportunity, swing the damn bat. But Chris Newstrom, to me, he's got it. Chris Newstrom can play some baseball, and he's got that piss and vinegar mentality too. I can tell you that right now. Abernathy too. That's the 2 for me over Clark and Marin. There's nobody can make a case for that over me, over those 2, because it seems like when they're in, things happen. And but yeah, maybe Curley down that. Maybe they strike magic again with him. Take a little off of him, put him in that 5 hole. I mean, one good weekend, Curley's back on it. I mean, that's why I'm not on the. I've seen people, we need to bench Curley. No, we don't. He's one of the best baseball players on this team. He's been in a funk. And I don't so much blame him for the error he made to throw over last weekend. He's playing how far out in the outfield? That's not a normal
shallow right field.
Yeah. And then he goes over, he makes the play, turns and makes the throw. If they're going to play that, I hope they're working on it in practice. That is not an easy throw. And I know he pretty much yard darted it over, but I just can't put a lot of fault on that. Some of the others, yes. But, I mean, as much as I've talked about how much I like Ariel Antigua in SEC play, Curley's got 6 errors. Ariel Antigua's got 5. And I love Ariel Antigua. He's a baller. But he's making error. And if the scoring was fair, like if the scoring was like it used to be, Antigua would have more errors than that, because he's gotten the benefit of the doubt on some as well. So, I mean, last weekend when they put Curley, or last week against Northern Kentucky, that play up the middle that he made where he dove and then threw, that was an awesome play. He's got the ability on it. So, I mean, anybody saying Curley needs to be benched, you're crazy. He doesn't. Is he in a funk? Maybe. Sure. But maybe, like you said, moving him down. Maybe you keep Peebles down as well. It doesn't have near the pressure on him. Because, I mean, Bargo had the pressure this past weekend. He stepped up and hit the bomb that enabled us to get 1 win out of the weekend. Maybe that's where we go. But I'm totally with you. I think Newstrom, we know Keelan, Fisher, Inslee, Bargo, Curley, Chapman, Peebles. We know those 7 are for sure. The other 2 have been the rotators. To me, it's Newstrom and Abernathy, and I don't think twice about it. And I think every single thing we look at tells us that's what it is as well. But we'll see where it is this weekend. Won't surprise me if we're back to Clark and Marin. Again, I think their potential's high. I don't think that's the right guys for the lineup right now. I'll just be honest about it. But that's where we're at. Talking Vandy this weekend, what has to happen?
Win game one to start off with. You can't be in a position where you lose game one and then playing catch up the rest of the weekend. That cannot happen. Win game one, like we've seen this team be capable of doing. You got to pick up Dole with the bats. Dole just needs to continue to do what he has done, and then hopefully the bats can give us a few, probably 5-6 runs. Hopefully, if we can hope for that, and then just kind of keep Vanderbilt at bay. They're going to play a lot like Kentucky did. So that is a little bit concerning, but I do know that the mentality this weekend will be different than it was against Kentucky. Like this team, I feel like right now this team definitely knows that they cannot lose this series, like no matter what. So I'm really confident Friday night. I definitely want them to win that one. Definitely think they win that one. Marcus Phillips needs to pitch like we've seen him be able to pitch. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I know he pitched last year against Vanderbilt in the SEC tournament. I need some of that kind of fire again that he pitched in the SEC tournament against them to kind of know that this is a rivalry game. This is a huge series. If you win on Friday night, Saturday night, I'm going to be really stinking happy. Been the first time in a month and a half that we've been going for a sweep on a Sunday. So,
That's right.
The Sunday, I mean, AJ Russell and Tegan Coons on Sunday, they're going to want to win. They're tired of it. They're tired of getting beat. They're tired of letting down their teammates. So you win on Friday and Saturday. A sweeps would be amazing. That would be everything we could ever ask for. And then Tony Vitello would be put back on the pedestal that he deserves.
Pretty much sums it up. We're going to wrap up on that one. Must win this weekend. I think we can all agree on that one. But thank you guys so much. We're over 200 right now. It's pretty awesome for a midweek baseball game. We're going to be live. We won't be live Sunday for Mother's Day. We'll be live. Both or one of us will be live the rest of the way. So you guys have a great evening. Frank, Carrie, House of Orange, last but not least, go Vols.